Why the Antarctic is so important. The huge frozen landmass at the bottom of our planet is more than just spectacular icing on the globe, and it could be vital for our survival too. The Antarctic ice deflects some of the sun's rays away from the Earth, keeping temperatures livable. Although it's not predicted that the massive Antarctic ice sheets are likely to melt completely, even small-scale melting would raise global sea levels, and cause flooding around the world. The oceans surrounding the continent also support masses of the world's sea life, including 15 species of whale and dolphin, and 5 species of penguin. Antarctica is one of the world's most important natural laboratories, which is why so many scientists brave the cold to work there. As well as helping us understand global climate change now, the unique archive locked in Antarctica's thick ice sheet tells us what our planet's climate has been like over almost a million years. As far south as you can go, this huge frozen landmass at the bottom of our planet is encircled by the vast Southern Ocean. Antarctica is a vast ice-covered landmass surrounded by sea, unlike the Arctic, which is an ice-covered ocean surrounded by land, and it's bigger than Europe, and in summer, it's still 62 times the size of the UK. Antarctica is the world's highest, driest, windiest and coldest continent, and its record low temperature is -94 degrees Celsius, but it doesn't actually snow much. The Antarctic is so dry it's classed as a polar desert. And it's in darkness part of the year, and there are no trees, or shrubs, and only 2 kinds of native flowering plant. Not surprisingly, there are no people permanently living or native to Antarctica, although there can be up to 5,000 scientists and researchers based there, including teams supported by WWF studying emperor and Adelie penguins. And about 30,000 tourists visit per year who need to be well managed so they don't damage this pristine environment. The Antarctic is one of the world's least disturbed places, but it's increasingly vulnerable, especially to global warming and climate change. Antarctica has no land-based mammals, just some hardy flightless insects, but it's rich in sea life, including seabirds like penguins, whales, seals and shrimp like krill. After years of lobbying by ourselves and our partners, in 2011 we saw new regulations come into place that stopped vessels using or carrying heavy fuel oil in Antarctic waters. Spills of lighter weight fuels could still happen, but at least it will evaporate and disperse more easily, and pose less danger to wildlife, like penguins and other seabird colonies. Antarctica is a continent capped by an inland ice sheet up to 4.8 kilometers thick, containing approximately 90% of the world's total surface fresh water, and 60% of the world's total fresh water. The ice sheet is so heavy that it has pushed the land below sea level in places. Because of the thickness of the ice sheet, Antarctica has the highest average altitude of all of the continents. The South Pole is 1,235 kilometers from the closest coastline and is situated high on the polar plateau, height 2,800 meters. Here it may be as cold as -75 degrees Celsius, but the world record lowest temperature is from an even more remote Antarctic station, Vostok, which logged -89 degrees Celsius. Antarctica is a cold desert, with snowfall equivalent to only 150 millimeters of water each year, and this snow builds up gradually and ice flows towards the coast as huge glaciers. In many places, these extend out over the sea as massive ice shelves. Only about 0.4% of the surface of Antarctica is free of snow and ice, and the tops of mountain chains stick up through the ice. The highest is Mount Vinson, 4,900 meters above sea level. The Southern Ocean is a continuous belt of sea surrounding Antarctica, and in winter, over half of the Southern Ocean freezes over. Although this seawater ice is only about 1 meter thick, it has a significant effect on ocean and atmospheric circulation, and nearly all of the sea ice melts in summer. Poles apart. Whereas Antarctica is an ice-covered continent surrounded by ocean, The Arctic is an ocean covered by thick sea ice and surrounded by the northern continents. There are no native peoples in Antarctica, and 18 countries operate year-round scientific research stations on the continent and the surrounding islands, and during summer, the UK's winter, as many as 10,000 scientists and support staff work there, but only about 1,000 in winter. Tourists also visit Antarctica during the summer to enjoy the spectacular scenery and abundant wildlife. Up to around 40,000 visitors each year. Antarctica is the coldest, windiest and most remote continent on Earth, and there are about 5 million penguins in Antarctica. Only 0.6% of Antarctica is free of ice, and the ocean surrounding Antarctica provides a virtually impenetrable barrier of sea ice which in winter covers an area around 1.5 times the area of the continent. In global terms, 90% of the world's ice is located in the Antarctic, and the purity of Antarctic ice is unmatched anywhere else in the world. When dinosaurs roamed and hibernated through the long polar winter, there was enough vegetation to sustain them. What you see and do during your Antarctic expedition will depend on when you go. From October to December, the seventh continent is ice-covered and penguins are busy laying their eggs. If you visit December to late February, you can see the penguins hatch. Mid-February to March is an ideal time to see whales as they return to the region to feed. Antarctic destinations. 1. Antarctic Peninsula. The Antarctic Peninsula is an 800-mile (1,300 kilometers) stretch of land and ice extending northward from the Antarctic continent towards South America. First-time visitors, especially, are humbled by the staggering beauty of the Antarctic icebergs, glaciers, snow-covered mountaintops and incredible wildlife. People who dream of visiting the seventh continent typically start here on the peninsula, which is ice-covered and mountainous. The Bransfield Strait separates the peninsula from the South Shetland Islands to the north. Tierra del Fuego, the southernmost tip of South America, lies about 1,000 kilometers (620 miles) away on the other side of the Drake Passage. To experience the Antarctic Peninsula is to witness mink and humpback whales at close range, and to gaze upon icebergs of every conceivable shape and size in the bays, fjords and inlets. The peninsula is blessed with a diversity of wilderness vistas, and visitors can observe penguin colonies on Danco Island, or stand in awe at the sight and sounds of mammoth glaciers calving in Naco Harbor. 2. Patagonia. Patagonia encompasses the vast southernmost tip of South America, and is shared by Argentina and Chile. The Andes Mountains is the natural divide between Argentine Patagonia, marked by arid steppes, grasslands and deserts, and Chilean Patagonia, which is known for its glacial fjords and temperate rainforest. Many visitors to Chilean Patagonia gravitate to Torres del Paine National Park for its waterfalls, lakes, verdant forests, mountains and the chance to see the southern Patagonian icefield. Also popular is Tierra del Fuego, Land of Fire, an archipelago off the southernmost tip of the South American mainland. The archipelago includes Cape Horn, a rocky headland on Hornos Island, and the Diego Ramirez Islands, which are the southernmost albatross breeding grounds in the world. Glacier Alley. Glacier Alley is a string of tidewater glaciers that tumble down to the edge of the sea from the massive Darwin icefield, also known as Cordillera Darwin, which covers an area that extends over 890 square miles, 2,300 square kilometers. Located along the north shore of the Beagle Channel and surrounded by snow-capped peaks, most of the glaciers were named after European countries, Holland, Italy, Germany, Spain and France, by the 19th century explorers who mapped the region. B. Tierra del Fuego Archipelago. Dramatic landscapes define Tierra del Fuego, an 18,572 square mile, 48,100 square km, archipelago off the southernmost tip of the South American mainland, across the Strait of Magellan. Shared by Chile and Argentina, the archipelago consists of the main island, Isla Grande de Tierra del Fuego, Cape Horn and Diego Ramirez Islands. Tierra del Fuego is known for its glaciers, snow-covered mountains, vast tundra and wind-sculpted trees. Its main island, Isla Grande, is home to the Argentine resort town of Ushuaia, which is the starting point of many Antarctic expeditions. See Torres del Paine National Park. Torres del Paine National Park is one of the most stunning wilderness areas in South America, encompassing bright blue icebergs, vast glaciers, lakes, mountains and rivers in Chilean Patagonia. The 448,280-acre, 181,412-hectare park was designated a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve in 1978. The park was named after the three granite pillars that tower over the Paine mountain range Torres d'Agostini, Torres Central and Torres Monzino, which rise up to 8,200 feet, 2,500 meters, above sea level. 3. Snow Hill Island. You've got one main reason or perhaps 10,000 to visit remote Snow Hill Island off the east coast of the Antarctic Peninsula. Snow Hill Island is home to a rarely visited colony of 4,000 pairs of breeding emperor penguins and their offspring. Reaching Snow Hill Island is a challenge only a handful of travelers have achieved. In addition to crossing the notoriously rough Drake Passage, determined travelers must navigate the icy Weddell Sea by polar ship, and then take a helicopter flight before completing the trek on foot to the Emperor Penguin Rookery. A. Tabular icebergs. There are just as many types of icebergs in the Antarctic as there are penguins, especially in the Weddell Sea. Dome-shaped, wedge-shaped, tilted and blocky. Tabular icebergs are a particularly eye-catching iceberg, and they're created when icebergs break away from the ice shelf and are floating in the open water, easily recognizable by their plateau-like flat top and steep sides. Imagine hundreds of icebergs of various sizes, as well as growlers, which are small icebergs, and bergy bits, chunks of glacier ice. B. Emperor penguins. Emperor penguins are a fascinating breed and the largest of the 17 penguin species. Emperors, 1.15 meters or 45 inches tall, can dive deeper than any other bird, often reaching depths of 565 meters, 1,850 featuring, to hunt for fish, krill and squid. Emperors are built to survive in -60 degrees Celsius, -76 degrees Fahrenheit, temperatures and withstand blizzards of 200 km per hour, 124 miles per hour. Unlike other penguins, emperors breed on sea ice, not on shore. 4. South Georgia. In contrast to the population of the Falklands, which numbers about 2,900 permanent residents, South Georgia has only a handful of temporary inhabitants, and that contingent is primarily researchers and scientists. The slightly crescent-shaped, mountainous island is known for its diverse wildlife, glaciers and fjords, as well as wildlife. A. Cooper Island. At the north side of the entrance to Drygalski Fjord, off the southeast end of South Georgia, lies Cooper Island. The small island, which is 2 miles (3.2 kilometers) long, was discovered by a British expedition under James Cook in 1775, and named for Lieutenant Robert Palliser Cooper, an officer aboard HMS Resolution. The large numbers seabirds including snow petrels, Antarctic prions, 12,000 pairs of black-browed albatross, chinstrap penguins and 20,000 macaroni penguins, plus, there are plenty of fur seals. B. Gold Harbor. Gold Harbor has been described as a zoo without the fence's 25,000 pairs of breeding king penguins, an estimated 500 gentoo penguins, and hundreds of elephant seals on the coastline beaches. Many birders visit Gold Harbor in the hopes of watching the courtship dance of the light-mantled sooty albatross, which can be spotted at the cliffs near Goldhead. 5. Falkland Island. To the British, this South Atlantic archipelago is known as the Falkland Islands. While it's the southernmost point of South America, the Falklands are a bastion of British culture and traditions. Located about 400 kilometers northeast of Tierra del Fuego, the Falklands are known for their wildlife. Penguins and bird species are plentiful, as well as their dramatic history. The Falklands, consisting of East and West Falkland, which are separated by Falkland Sound, are a popular stop for travelers on their way to Antarctica. A bleaker island. Bleaker Island is anything but bleak, and in fact, it was originally known as Breaker Island because of the huge waves that came crashing onto its shores. The long sandy beach known as Sandy Bay is home to diverse birdlife. Gentoo penguins congregate on the north end of the bay, and the island is also popular among bird enthusiasts who come to visit the huge imperial cormorant colony. B. West Point Island. West Point Island, in the northwest corner of the Falkland Islands, has some of the most spectacular coastal scenery in the Falklands. At least one of its west-facing cliffs reaches 380 meters high, 1,250 feet. The island is small in size, 5.67 square miles, 1,469 hectares, and in terms of human population, estimates range from 2 to 4 people. Other sought-after bird species include Falkland steamer ducks, ruddy-headed geese, southern rockhopper penguins, Magellanic penguins, striated caracaras, and Cobb's wrens. Commerson's dolphins frequent the surrounding waters.